This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network, and we are at the MicroCap Rodeo 2019 in Austin, Texas. With me right now for this Wall Street View is Chris Lahiji from LD Micro, ldmicro.com, LD Micro Index. Chris, what's going on? Good
Thanks,
to see you.
brother. It's nice to finally see you guys in my hometown of Texas.
It's great to be in your hometown of Texas. I love it. I might move, but not yet. Anyways.
We still have, Texas is still known to have shitty humidity around these areas, and looks like nothing has changed.
I'm still sweating through my suit, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
I will say that, air conditioning is at a premium in this state, but it's always great to be back home. I think Austin is truly one of the most unique cities, not only in the U.S., but in the world, and one of my big regrets was not going to the University of Texas at Austin. So, I come back here and it's kind of bittersweet, but I know that I'm probably going to have 8 to 10 pounds of Tex-Mex later tonight.
I got to say, I think they could have used you as a linebacker in the most recent Oklahoma game, but I digress.
Listen, I'm more aggressive when it comes to personal investments. If I had any position in football, it would be that guy who holds the football when the guy kicks it. I don't know if there's...
They still have a job. That's a punter. You still have to punt.
If that's the case, no. Because in the basis of punting, if the guy gets loose, you're the last person that needs to tackle him. I can't do that. I'm more of a badminton player, if you ask me. I'm more aggressive when it comes to badminton.
And that's how we shed all the weight, was badminton.
Yeah, well, shedding weight is, it's a multitude of things, but for me, the one thing that's really, really, really helped me out has been Peloton, and there are very few things that are like that ultimately match up to the hype. I think Peloton is just one of those things where I don't know what it is, and it's not just like it's not a trainer or it's not a session. It's just the fact that you can get on and become part of a collective network. So that's helped me. And the all mint diet. There's some beautiful churros over there that right next to Angie that I'm probably going to try not to see. And the worst part is in Texas, it's not enough to have a churro. You have to have a churro dipped in hot fudge.
Or barbecue sauce.
Or barbecue sauce, yeah.
So cutting to the business side of things here, microcaps, you run the LD Micro Index. What have you been seeing thus far on the index and just in microcaps in general? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so it's been a rough summer. I could tell you, so look, I mean, you look at all the indexes and you look at the LD Micro Index, and we're the only one in red territory, so we're down for the year. We're down year to date, and we're down from this time last year. And you look at it, and again, it's just a few companies in the microcap world that are really outperforming everything else. So to say that it's been a stock picker's market would be an understatement. But for us, it was a rough summer. For me personally, I'm down for the year. There was a couple of things that were essentially binary events that we were on the wrong side of the trade, and what we're trying to do is we're just trying to salvage, we're trying to get back to par. So my take is, has there been a little bit of fatigue? Has there been a little bit of disappointment? Maybe not. But, I always kind of ask myself, Bobby, we've had 10 years of bull market. What happens if there's a slowdown? How does that impact the smallest names that haven't participated as much? So that, nobody obviously knows the answer, but that's something that kind of causes me to lose a little bit of sleep at night.
Well, so how do you adjust your strategy in times like that where, you kind of took a binary bet on the other side? How do you adjust your strategy so you do get back to par?
We have a contrarian portfolio internally. So these are things that I think are going to do well both in good times and bad. And, just say for an example, and this was something that a gentleman by the name of Chris Kuiper from Legion wrote on, something like Primo Water. For full disclosure purposes, I don't own the stock. But how does Primo Water do in a slowdown or a macroeconomic crunch? It's water. You're going to need it. In 09, 10, their numbers were still really good. So it's kind of shifting that strategy into things that won't be as negatively impacted by an economic slowdown. But naturally, if the correction is large enough, it doesn't matter if you own water companies, utilities, Coca-Cola, everything's going to get smashed to smithereens. So that's something that we're factoring in, and we're spending more and more time on this Contrarian portfolio because we just feel like if there is going to be a correction, we want to be ahead of the curve.
So let me ask you, when it comes to this idea of being more contrarian, where you see potential slowdowns, I'm still young in my career, so it's not like I've seen a ton of slowdowns in my day. You've seen a few.
Yeah.
So does the industry that you look at change with each slowdown, or are there a few industries and sectors that you're like, okay, slowdown's coming, all right, let's go back to our tried and true, less risky sectors that we know always work during these slowdowns?
It's a great question. So I think it goes on feel, what you feel is going to happen as an investor, and also what you have seen historically in the past that has held up a lot better than anything else. So I've been investing since 1996. I've considered myself professional since 2002. It's been 17 years. My brother, every single correction is different. It's like earthquakes, man. It's like you and I, we've been through a bunch of earthquakes. How do you prepare for an earthquake? I'm still scared shitless. Someone's like, how do you describe it? I've been through a bunch of them. It's just a very surreal feeling of the earth underneath you moving. So, but everything that I've learned from like Northridge and the recent quakes that we had, you know to immediately get out of the house. Make sure you turn off the gas. There's a lot of things, you have to have 100 or so gallons of water just in case you can't go to the supermarket. So with every correction, there is obviously valuable experience, but it's like an earthquake. You don't know unless you actually go through one.
So I want to work off this analogy of the earthquake and when it comes to portfolio construction at different time periods, because I'm just going to assume that you, like some of our other friends in the microcap investor world, have names that you'll hold through no matter what because they're high-quality businesses. But do you also construct it where you have a few that are more the risky ones, but you also have them on the list of like, all right, just in case there is a downturn, I need to go to cash, getting rid of those, and then going to some other ones?
Every company that has ever been in my personal portfolio is on a case-by-case basis. It's all feel, it's comfort in management, it's macroeconomic activity. We don't really basically go, oh my God, things are going to hit the fan, I'm going to sell everything. Just conversely, like, oh my God, everything is trading at 4 times EBITDA, let me load the boat on everything. So I'm pretty comfortable with the way that I've positioned ourselves, but then again, we're not immune. So look, like I said, we went heavy on a couple names that didn't work out this year, and it shows. So it's like, so what happens? You basically kind of just go like, oh my God, I hope that this goes up. I hope that this goes up. I hope that these guys improve. And we're still at the point now where I feel that a lot of positive needs to happen for us to get back to the plus column this year.
So what are you seeing then for the rest of 2019 going into 2020 in terms of, listen, I know you can never predict this stuff,
listen,
but
for me, listen, look, if I knew anything was going to take place a day, a week, a month, a year, I wouldn't be in this chair. I would be somewhere on the Cayman Islands, dude. I'd have that like that Persian thing that they do where it's like you have the chest hair out, just basking in the sun. It's like they bring me a margarita just the way I like it. So look, obviously, I would torch this. I would torch this and the person that I took a bet with. But going back to this, I think all the risk now is political. No one knows. Listen, I'll tell you this. Our own administration doesn't know what's going on half the time. It's bad when your administration is looking at CNN and Fox News getting the recent results or what's happening in Syria and impeachment, all these things. So that to me is insane because you've never had any historical context like this where a guy pops out a tweet and the Dow goes up 500 points, or he says something and the market corrects. You may have had that dynamic with Greenspan many, many years ago, but nothing on the presidential level. So, listen, I genuinely believe that if you're part of that administration, the Trump administration, it's like you're in a car and you don't know where the hell the next destination is. It's like you're ghost riding. You know, it's like you and me taking 10 and, you know, it's like, do you want to go to the Waffle House? No, I want to go to Taco Bell. We don't know. And then we end up going to Whataburger, which is a phenomenal chain here in Texas. But that's the take. So look, I mean, my fear is at the highest level. And, you know, whether he's going to get kicked out or not, I don't know. I don't know if the street is putting any value to that. I'm just saying that it scares the living, you know, cahoots out of me. So, and I don't see that situation getting any better. What I think is personally is that he knows he's down to the polls, and now he's going to start Hail Mary passing. It's like when you're down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and you have 6 minutes to play. You got to make crazy decisions. So I'm just hoping that's not the start of that.
We just wish he'd run the ball, you know, but he won't.
He won't know because like I said, he does not even know what his next move is. He's also a man of gut and feel, and just like me, his gut and feel has not been very accurate this year.
All right, so we have a big event coming up in December, the main event. Tell our audience, what can they expect this year at the LD Micro main event?
I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, we have never had this much interest. We're very, as you know, for the last few years, we've been very careful on how we expand. But I'm very glad that you asked me this question because there's something very special that we're doing on day 3. So, and I know a lot of you out there read our weekend updates. It's probably for my musings, but more importantly for that weekend data.
It's for our enjoyment.
No, it's mostly for that data. It's mostly the data. I mean, people just want to see if they own something that was down 70% for the week. But what we're doing on the last day is called macro. And essentially, we want to take our platform and really provide something unique that not only no one in this industry can emulate, but it's something that makes people feel good inside. So you've been to these conferences like Roth or Needham where for 1 or 2 days, it's like Braveheart. You know, it's like that scene where you have like heads flying and limbs and people screaming and, you know, horses being, you know, chopped up. On day 3, it's about cleansing. It's about being comfortable. It's about learning more about yourself. So we have something planned 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11. And what I could say without giving too much details because I want it to be a surprise, but 8 nonprofits will close us out. And for every person that is there, I will write a check per person with a minimum, meaning that if these nonprofits show up, Chris Lahiji will write a check. And even more valuable, Chris Lahiji will write a check in the same day because I have a tendency of forgetting or not knowing where my checkbook is because I'm West Asian. You know, we always tend to lose things when we need to pay up. So the consensus, I want people to have a good time on the last day. 9 to 10 is something that nobody's ever done, and 8 to 9 is something that no one's ever done. So I have this weird feeling that people are going to stay for all 3 days. We're probably, right now we're looking at between 255 and 280 companies. So I feel that over the 12 years, I feel that it is now the most influential microcap conference in the world. And I want to make it in a way where people come and enjoy and also see something that they've never seen, which is hard to do.
Listen, as a conference host, I can also agree with you on that. No doubt. It is definitely the most influential. We always want to make sure everyone goes to every LD Micro because they should.
And look, you're the best event in town when it comes to Vegas. So look, my consensus, Bobby, is that I have nothing against events. I just have something against bad events. I think that takes away from the industry. So you guys host a great event. I think we host a great event. What this industry needs more than ever before, and I've said this before, is winners. So anything that we could do to facilitate a place where people can see unique companies that go on to do great things is a huge advantage. And this year, we're looking for a couple of keynotes from a few government agencies too, because I really want to understand the psyche. And I also want to show them that there's a great side to this industry as well. Because, you know, there's always the bad, and the bad will always exist, but there's also a very small collective close-knit group of people that want to do great stuff. And I think if they see that, it'll kind of change their mind and their perception on how they view the entire industry, or at least I would hope. But make no mistake, this is like one of those things where we could just tell by email. I mean, I'm at 7,200 email right now. I'm dying, Bobby. I'm dying. Like, I don't want to. Listen, I did not turn on my computer for a month. I swear to you, I felt like Indiana Jones. I was like swimming in lagoons, like getting on boats, just like having a great time. And then I turned on my computer, and I did email for 2 days, and I went back into my, into a mode of, almost like depression. So there has to be a change for that. But I feel that we're going to be very, very tight on the last spots because I want to make sure that the right companies are there. And, I hope to see some of the audience in less than 8 weeks.
Well, a few years ago, you used to refer to the LD Micro Conference as the Fiesta Bowl, but I think we can all conclusively say it's now the Super Bowl.
No, I think
it's the Super Bowl,
well,
man.
No, I think that Roth's event will always be, to me, the Super Bowl, because that is the event that when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, that was the one that I would always aspire to. And it's the one that I go as an investor. So to me, in my eyes, Roth will always be the Super Bowl.
Well, you know what? To me, when I came in the industry at 22, 21, yours was the Super Bowl to me. Perspective.
No, look, and I appreciate that, Bobby. I feel that in terms of pure microcap, because Roth and Needham and those guys, they do a lot of small cap as well. Just in terms of pure micro, sub 300 million, I think when you look on a collective scale in terms of the world, in terms of influence, I don't think anyone matches the main event. But to say that is not boasting. To say that is to say, okay, now how do we advance everybody forward? That's, it's like my idol, and I don't even like his music, is Yo-Yo Ma. Okay, he's the cellist, right? Yeah. I was going to say, he plays the trombone, baby. He plays the trombone. No, he's the cellist. The flutist, yeah. Yeah, I just, he does like one of those things where you absolutely know, but the camera's on you and you lose it.
I think it'd be even worse if you said violinist.
I'll tell you why Yo-Yo Ma is my favorite musician of all time. He collaborates with everybody. Yeah. Okay? The street performer, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, okay? Maroon 5. The artist formerly known as Prince. Well, wait a second. That was years ago. God rest his soul. But that's the take. He wanted, his entire motivation was taking good and amplifying it. And that's the same thing we're trying to do internally at LD. It's okay. We know that the event's going to be well received. How do we push this? How do we push microcap in the next decade where we don't have to be worried about, companies going dark or, regulatory concerns? And I feel that for the first time in a long time, I feel like we have what it takes to kind of push a positive energy forward.
Couldn't agree more. So for our audience, let's get more information about LD Micro, where everybody can go to sign up and get everything they need to know to come to all of your events.
LDmicro.com. I'm trying to buy LD.com, but the dude wants like $2 million, and I want to give him. I don't want to give him $2 million. So for now, just go to the website. Feel free to enjoy it. There's a lot of things that, the live news feed, the indices, the customized reports. There's a lot of great stuff there. A lot of people don't know this, but the top news of the day, it's all custom. There's no AI. There's no machine learning. There's no robot. There's no intern in India. It's us. So come, enjoy, and there's details on the event, and let us know.
My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network, and we are at the MicroCap Rodeo 2019 in Austin, Texas. With me again has been the Chris Lahiji from LD Micro, ldmicro.com, LD Micro Index. Chris, always a pleasure, man.
Yeehaw, baby. Yeah, you have to have one yeehaw in Texas. Yeah, yeehaw.